2 between the Flashes and the Chippewas as Kent State aims to stay in the MAC tournament picture. Welcome into college volleyball on ESPN+. It's the Kent State Golden Flashes hosting the Central Michigan Chippewas on a Friday night inside the MAC Center. Good evening, everyone, and happy Friday here on Blackout Cancer Night alongside Marana Burles, rocking the pink hat. We love it. I'm Dane Richardson. Marana, last night in Central Michigan's win, it was really their tempo that stood out as we now turn to our Shelter Insurance impact players for tonight's game. Their middles are so darn efficient, and Grace Thomas was doing everything right.
Grace Thomas brought everything for her team. She had 12 kills, hitting .647. Not only did she get it done offensively, but she also had 7 blocks. To round out a complete game for Thomas, she also had 2 service aces.
Kent State struggled to stay in system last night, but when they were in system, Nadia Miller was making it happen in the middle.
The Kent State offense had ebbs and flows of who was scoring last night. However, one steady force throughout the entire game was Nadia Miller. Miller had 10 kills, 4 blocks, and 3 service aces. She was able to ignite a spark in her team when they needed her most. Tonight, they will need her to continue to be that spark.
That will transition us to our Keller Williams Berthium Realty keys to tonight's game, our keys to victory first for Central Michigan.
For Central to get the series sweep over Kent State, they need to keep the tempo. Last night, we saw Central Michigan run a fast offense through their middles and on the outside. The fast tempo balls made it difficult for the Golden Flashes block. To keep the pressure going on the block, they will need to keep that fast tempo offense.
How does Kent State change the result tonight?
Kent State needs to steady their pass. They struggled a lot on serve-receive last night, so looking to just have a calm, steady serve-receive pass.
There are your two coaches, Aria Wilson and Haley Eckerman, as we take a look at the series history between both these teams. 60-second meeting in the all-time series. Central Michigan leads 38-22-1. Well, the Chippewas have won 7 straight matches. Haley Eckerman has yet to beat Central Michigan, but if Kent State wants to stay in the MAC tournament picture, they got to go on a run that starts tonight.
This is a game that Kent State needs to win. Coach Eckerman flipping the script with her record against Central Michigan, hoping to do that here today. One win really just sets it apart.
Central Michigan winning it quite easily in 4 sets last night. In all 3 sets, the Chippewas won. They weren't relatively challenged. We're ready to get underway on a Friday night from the MAC Center. Great crowd. Kent State rocking the pink jerseys on Blackout Cancer Night, and they start in system. Ginley down the middle, only had 11 total attacks last night, but V-Hill gets her involved early.
Great early service pressure from Faruda back there. Gets them out of system, a free ball for Ginley to put down.
Ginley with those 4 kills. The more the middles get involved, usually the better the result for Kent State. Anderson starts at the libero spot for Central Michigan. McGuire out of system, Anderson covers. To the outside, Taylor Kripe with that high vertical, and she got a touch on it. It's 1-1.
Kripe getting the top of Moreland's hands there, but you mentioned how Kent State, they have a better result when they get their middles involved. Well, to get the middles involved, they need a good pass. So when they're passing well in a game, often the result follows. 10
service aces last night for Central Michigan. That kept Kent State out of system for a number of points that allowed the Chippewas to take advantage. V-Hill back to the middle, but a rejection by Brooklyn Connor. We mentioned how much the Central Michigan middles were getting it done offensively, but there it's...
Connor did not have a strong defensive game last night, so it's good to see her getting involved early on the block.
V-Hill goes to McGuire, a good bump set. McGuire's too long. Marana, I'll ask you, how important is it that she gets going? Because McGuire did struggle a little bit last night, hitting under 150.
McGuire did not have a lot of kills until the very end of the 4th set when she started to really go on a run, get some energy for her team. So getting McGuire engaged early and then having success will really turn this team around here today.
Central Michigan on a quick 4-point run after Kent State struck first. Ariel Wilson talked to us before this weekend. Her team's now in a 4-game win streak, their longest of the season. She really just said it was a change in the team's mindset. They wanted to make it happen. They weren't worrying about everything else. Speaking of making it happen, there's another rejection from the Chippewas up front, and it's 5-1.
Central Michigan has done a strong job so far on their block. Kent State, when one of their attackers doesn't get the ball down right away, they keep going back to them for that second attempt. 2 times now, Michigan has gotten a block off of that.
Swears serves aggressively. Kent State stays ready. Ginley couldn't put it away, and a nice job by Raymond to prevent Moreland. Back row Swears right to Ferruta. Overpass. Oh, and it's won by Kent State. Connor just had her timing off at the net. The Golden Flashes needed that break there.
Kent State likes to see that happen. They play well defensively and get rewarded with an unforced error. Speaking of those unforced errors right there with the service error from Haley Brenner.
It is something we talked about last night. Kent State had 7 service errors, but they were all seemingly very timely in favor of Central Michigan. Back to the outside, McGuire straight down to the floor. Abby Olin says no.
Olin just shutting down McGuire on the outside. When we talked to Coach ahead of this week, something she mentioned is how Mackenzie McGuire runs a higher ball. She doesn't run that fast tempo, and so the blockers have to adjust to it, and it gives them some more time to get there.
Central Michigan already with a 6-point lead, and Haley Eckerman wants a Kent State timeout. The Chippewas are picking right up where they left off a night ago. A 4-set win, already up by 6 points here early in set 1. Stay with us, college volleyball on ESPN+. Inside the Mack Center, Central Michigan with an early 8-2 advantage over Kent State. Kent State got the first point, but since then Central Michigan has stayed confident. They've gone on a run. Winners of now 4 in a row for Ariel Wilson's team in her first season, once again coming over from Missouri. The good thing for Kent State, though, is it's still early, but it seems like that momentum from last night is clearly carried over. It's out of the net. Nadia Miller couldn't put it away, but she does indeed.
Luckily for Kent State, Nadia Miller's energy and momentum seems to have carried over, at least to start on that ball. Kent State is really going to need to keep her involved if they're going to try and chip away at these points.
Miller was our player to watch tonight for Kent State, coming off a double-digit kill performance in the 4-set loss with 10 and an ace from Katie Patterson.
Almost another service error from Kent State, but with a little help from the tape there, Patterson gets an ace.
The tape can either be your friend, it can be pretty mean. It was friendly to Patterson there. It's a 4-point game. No spin on that serve. Tied to the net for Raymond. Nearly made a great play on it, but not much she could do. 3 in a row for KSU out of the timeout.
A tight set there for Raymond out of the back row, and she just tries to use the block as she's coming into that tight ball, but the block staying steady and not getting a touch.
Patterson attacks Raymond, who had double-digit digs last night. Olin on the right side. There's an easy tool.
Olin quiet last night, a couple kills here and there, but looking to get her going here tonight as well.
Olin had played much of the season as a middle blocker and moved over to the right side where she's been playing all the way around. We talked to Ariel Wilson about that as Olin's serve is too long. Olin, in the beginning of the year, Marana, was adamant that she did not want to play the right side this season. Coach Wilson called her one of the most gifted athletes that she has coached and said she's still working through timing, but talked about the betterment of the team is why she still made that switch to the right side, even though she was having success in the middle. We've seen Connor and Thomas do fantastic in the middle this year.
Abby Olin, as you mentioned it, a middle by trade, but had 10 digs last night, so that's pretty good from a former middle.
Don't blink, Kent State's all the way back within 2. McGuire with a great short serve. Brown with her first swing, couldn't put it away. Raymond rejected, Nadia Miller.
Kent State's blocking defense getting involved here, something they need to keep this momentum and keep this energy going.
Central Michigan calls timeout. It was 8-2 CMU. But since that point, Kent State has gone on a 6-1 run. That's a great sign for a Flashes team that clearly they're not letting last night get to them. It might just be getting their feet wet here tonight.
It's very easy to just roll over when you're down by 6 points early on. 8-2 is not a score that you want to look at, and it's not inspiring for the rest of your set. But Kent State has not let that faze them, as now they're back within 1.
Haley Eckerman talked about when they lost in 5 sets last Thursday night to Miami. She said she saw a look in her team's eyes that she knew a response was coming the next day. You have to feel like she thought the same thing last night when her team lost in 4 to Central Michigan, and we'll see if this team has learned from some of their mistakes. And when it all comes down to it, Marana, if this team can stay in system, you would assume it would be a much closer match or a different result.
Last night's match was back and forth for 2 of those sets, for 1 of those sets at the beginning. The first set, very close, very tight, and then Central Michigan just ran away with the second set. And Kent State, they had that response. They wanted to come back after that set. They came back, won the third. You wouldn't have expected that when you looked at the score of the second.
The response continues. The second service ace of the night for Kent State, and it comes from Mackenzie McGuire.
This is the service pressure Kent State needs to bring both of these teams at the bottom of the conference in opponent service aces.
Covering the tip is KSU. Brown off the top of the block. A lot of room for Thomas, but a great dig, but it's still won by Central Michigan. Doing everything in that left back position was the freshman Katie Patterson. Recently moved to that left back spot. She's making a difference.
Katie Patterson has benefited a lot from the switch to Haley Brenner in that libero jersey. She's getting a couple shots in that left back position, looks very comfortable there, and has been a great asset to this team.
From the back row, Raymond goes soft, and that was a great decision. We talked about last night how the fast tempo of the Chippewas system really forces the back line of Kent State not to stay on their heels, but make sure they take away that deep shot. And the tips were very effective. Miller wanted the touch, and she'll get it. Back to a 1-point game.
Kent State early in this game has looked a lot stronger on their serve receive. Watching that ball from Patterson, she looked settled, she looked calm, and Kent State was able to benefit off of it.
Here's Thomas, our player to watch. Patterson again, quick on her feet, gives it right back, and Thomas knows what to do with it.
Patterson making plays all over the court, but with an overpass there, goes right back to Thomas.
I guess you could say it's a sigh of relief when you see Thomas go to the back row and serve, but Brooklyn Connor is very good in her own right. Came into this weekend second in the MAC in hitting percentage, and a couple in a row for Central Michigan. They're back up by 3.
Grace Thomas is not a sigh of relief to see at the service line, though, as she has 26 service aces on the year. So impressive numbers from the middle.
D-Hill tries to dump. Right there was Olin down the middle, and some bad timing there with Millen Connor. It's a 2-point match.
A smart decision from V-Hill there. You're almost expecting her to go to the middle on that ball, but she makes the decision to go after Olin. Doesn't necessarily get the kill, but Central Michigan makes the error.
A different type of dump as well, and Taylor Kripe is rejected upstairs. Macy Moreland and Adeline Ginley combined for the block. Kripe crushed this ball right into the hands of the freshman.
Taylor Kripe was moving all around the block yesterday, so good for the Golden Flashes to try and keep her under control if they can.
Ginley gets a smart touch on that. You probably don't want Vigil to take that ball though. Brown, oh, I think she got a touch on that. She did not, and she just spun it out of play. Point to Central Michigan. I said, go ahead, Marana.
No, I was just gonna say, she was trying to turn this ball down the line, probably hoping to get a touch there, but doesn't end up finding it.
We've already seen Kent State's blocking much improved coming into this weekend, second in conference play in blocks per set. And Kent State does get the touch this time, courtesy of Mercedes Brown.
Finds it on the touch there. She's one of those players that uses the block to her advantage. She's smart, she sees the opposing block and tries to use it.
First kill for Mercedes Brown, coming off a 10-kill performance last night, as Faruda comes in on the back row. The dump from Mill, time and time again. Her hitting percentage was .600 last night. Caught Kent State sleeping about 4 or 5 times. She does it again.
Season high in kills for Mill last night with 4, but she did it at timely times when she would get her kills. She was smart, she saw the defense. Kent State was never able to pick up her dumps.
Swears gives it right back, however, lacing it out of bounds. It seems like a very similar script, Marana, to the first set last night, where that came down to the wire in which the Chippewas won that, 25-23. To the outside, Raymond with a roll shot. She pinpoints the line.
Raymond, we'll see her swing aggressively at the ball. We saw the nice roll shot out of the back row. Now we see her with a nice line shot there. So Raymond has all of the tools in her toolbox, and she will hit all of them.
Langton serves it out of play. We mentioned the volatility of Central Michigan coming into this weekend at the service line. Last night, it was really the positive side of it, but the negative side of it is showing a little bit here in the first set.
3 service errors already for the Central Michigan team.
We had 5 last night. To the middle, Grace Thomas, my goodness.
Grace Thomas, she's effective when she's in the front row and she gets it done.
Vigil, not much she could do with it, but puts it in a great spot. Can Kent State finish? They'll go to McGuire. Outside, Raymond off the block and down. Marana, would you like McGuire to swing away at that one next time?
Right now, I think Mackenzie McGuire is playing almost a little bit scared. She doesn't have a kill yet. She has 2 errors on 4 swings. She's been rejected at the net. Mackenzie McGuire hasn't found that confidence yet in this game, and I think Mackenzie McGuire needs to take a couple swings here to gain that confidence, because Mackenzie McGuire is more than capable of getting a swing and getting a kill.
Raymond again with her strong placement. Central Michigan back in control here in this first set, up by 4. And a service ace courtesy of Abby Olin, and Haley Eckerman's gonna have to use timeout number 2 as Central Michigan is 5 points away from yet another set 1 win. That's their second ace. Kent State also with 2 as well. It's a Central Michigan team that, when we asked Ariel Wilson, what has she learned most recently, especially about this team in MAC play, and Coach Wilson said this generation in general, not just with her team, she says, I feel like they have a higher level of anxiety than previous generations, and she's told her team, all right, we're not gonna focus on positive or negative thinking, but neutral thinking, right? Saying it can help her players get in a type of zone where they're not necessarily worrying too much about the result on the floor, and they can just go out and play and use their athletic ability, and that's attributed to this team's 4-game win streak.
One thing about volleyball that a lot of people don't realize is how much of a mental game that it is, especially in serve receive. Serve receive is very much a mental game, and so when you get in the zone of self-doubt, thinking, oh, I can't do this, oh, I'm nervous, in that negative thinking, that's when you start to see the errors.
Kent State was down 6 in this set. They climbed all the way back within 1. But Central with a late run. They've scored the last 4. Baruta barely got a piece. Kent State just staying alive. Chippewas in system, and Raymond finds the line yet again. We saw her a number of times swing away at that last night. She's just toying with this Golden Flashes defense.
Raymond is such a smart player. We've talked about it time and time again, but she's able to get a kill with whatever shot she chooses.
Kent State desperately needing a point. Thomas backslide. She's got another.
Central Michigan has just ran away with this set, something that we might have started to see at the beginning of the set when they took that 6-point lead. Kent State able to battle back, but
oh boy, Raymond, net violation I would assume, so it'll be Kent State's point. A little too eager, but a great service run there by Abiola.
Kent State happy to have this ball back on their side with the unforced error by Raymond.
Net is still shaking. She crushed it though. Thomas, man, 5 kills, 10 total attempts, and what makes her difficult, or what should I say, difficult to defend, or her hitting percentage so high, is she's very limited errors. Only had 1 hitting error last night, 10 total attempts, none so far tonight. Clearly, Mill is making an effort to get her involved whenever she can. Speaking of middles, Nadia Miller's got one.
Talking about Mill, she currently has the most attempts out of anyone from Central Michigan, beating out Raymond by 1, but still, having a middle at this point in the first set leading you in attempts is an impressive stat.
It also means her passing has been on point. Mercedes Brown goes toward the deep 6 spot. Good pass by Raymond. Tribe couldn't finish it, but Thomas can. Her 6th kill of the first set.
Kent State has made a lot of good defensive plays here in this first set, but a lot of them end up going over the net, and then it's just an easy free ball for Central Michigan to take care of.
Set point. Rarely do they run the backslide with Ginley, and the timing was off on the block. Marana, what do you think of that?
Timing was off on the block. Timing was also off on the slide, it seemed, so kind of a give and take there, but Ginley able to get a kill. She's smart with that. She's tall, she's lengthy, and she's able to get balls that normally you wouldn't expect her to get.
Good spot on the push by Olin, and Brown smacks it out of play in the first set, awarded to Central Michigan. 25-18, 5 sets played between these two teams so far this weekend. 4 of them going to the Chippewas. Kent State looking to fight back in set 2. Stay right here. It's a Friday night from the Mac Center on E+. We're back starting the second set here from Kent, Ohio. Central Michigan taking the first set 25-18. Natalia Raymond last night was prolific on the offensive and defensive end, and she picked up where she left off. 5 kills in set number 1.
Natalia Raymond, she had come off a MAC Offensive Player of the Week, and she showed why last night as she just racked up kill after kill, and here she's keeping that going.
Indeed she is. Grace Thomas also 6 kills to lead all players, hitting .545 in that first set. Something that did make me smile. While we were at break between the first and second set, it was Kent State football head coach Mark Carney starting the wave here in the crowd. He's got his whole team here tonight. Of course, they play at home against Bowling Green tomorrow on ESPN+. You can also listen to the radio call. Myself, Rob Polinsky, will be on there on Fox Sports 1350. But so much fun energy with that group over there. And you can see Coach Carney, he makes his guys, they go to other sporting events. They support athletes, and that's a great sign.
It's a great sign. The football players getting involved, having fun, almost poked at the other team or the other side of the court for not getting into the wave. But one of the best waves I've actually seen, better than some professional ones.
Macy Moreland starts off the second set well for Kent State. Moreland had a good night last night. She was our player to watch. Hit .333. It was really the rest of the offense that could not deliver for KSU. Tight on the net. Ooh, tough play, and Brooklyn Connor will finish it on the hardwood.
Connor just finding the corner there at the 10-foot line. You mentioned Moreland. That was her first kill of the game. She's had double digits recently, but the first one, none in the first set.
You wonder if that was a point of emphasis to try and shut her off after a successful night last night. She'll get another chance here. Blocked, and Brenner with some miscommunication with Vigil. If that situation happens again, what does Kent State need to do to keep that ball in the air?
That's a hard ball because you have 2 players that are looking to cover that ball, but just being verbal and talking about, hey, this ball is up, somebody's got to go.
Swears goes short. Great pass by McGuire, but nobody there in the middle. Miller clearly frustrated.
Miscommunication on what set they were running there from the middle, as Nadia Miller going in for more of a 3 instead of right in front of her setter.
I think she's smiling because she did get a warning from the down ref. I don't think you're supposed to slam the volleyball to the ground like that.
I think that's a big no-no.
I think all players have been there, though. Well, she takes her anger out on that swing. It's 3-2.
That's what Nadia Miller needed after that last ball.
4 kills tonight for Miller. Kind of a small, little, very fitting story. Player's timing's off, slams the ball to the floor. Player gets the next set, gets a kill.
Slams the ball to the floor.
Point to Kent State. And how about that? I'll tell you what, now in college volleyball, it is very rare we see a double touch call, but there was one, an obvious one right there.
I think we saw one earlier in the first set as well, so I could be wrong, but I believe we saw one earlier in the first set, so not something you see all the time because a double won't be called unless it goes over the net, but over there, just sends it over, not clean.
I'm sure the middles were happy when that rule was changed. Saw a number of middles dish out some assists last night. McGuire, a high ball, and she finishes it.
There's Mackenzie McGuire. No kills in the first set, but gets one there.
Greta Bolognini comes out. Bolognini beginning the second set. In on the back row instead of Ferruta, and a rejection from Nadia Miller. That's a pretty play.
A great ball there by Miller. Thomas does not get rejected often. Only one error last night. Now she has one here today, courtesy of Nadia Miller.
From the back row, this is where Swears can be effective. Bolognini, an overpass. She got blocked once. It's tough to block her twice.
Katie Patterson in the right spot on defense needs to find a way to take something off that ball in her reception as it keeps going over the net.
Covering a lot of ground is V-Hill, and not much you can do. You always want the setter to take the second ball, but where is that line to where they need a call for help?
On that ball, I think it was more just where the placement of the set is, but sometimes it needs to be just noticed and seen that, hey, this is not a good decision for the team.
Kent State pops it over. 4 touches is the ruling. Central Michigan up by 2. Olin had a great service run in the first. Picture perfect pass by Brenner, and Miller is sent back by Thomas.
That was a great pass from Haley Brenner there, so it allows them to run the slide, but Thomas and Raymond just waiting for her there.
A lot of room for Miller. Goes down the line, not bad placement. Raymond couldn't put it away. Back row, Swears, time, space to the arms of McGuire. Tight on the net, and it's going to be won by the Chippewas.
Great defense here from Kent State, but Christina V-Hill struggling setting Mercedes Brown.
The Chippewas starting to inch away in set number 2. We'll be back. It's college volleyball on ESPN+. Only last night, but tonight as well. She's been unstoppable.
Grace Thomas already up to 7 kills here today on 13 attempts. 2 blocks with that as well, so picking up where she left off last night. Last night she had those 7 blocks and 12 kills, so just being an offensive and defensive weapon for this team.
She already has 7 kills now. If this goes to at least 4 sets with the pace she's at, she could certainly beat that number. She gets another opportunity here, and it's kill number 8 right on cue.
Mackenzie McGuire trying to get her arms around it, but isn't able to keep it inside the court.
It was Olin's serve that gave Kent State issues in set number 1. Varying the pace of that as she goes short. Mercedes Brown on the outside couldn't push through the block. Swears in the back row. That wasn't a very successful shot for her last night, but she's too good of a hitter to miss too many times.
Swears had a couple errors, but before that, she had been a consistent force in the back row. And even if she wasn't getting kills, she was putting Kent State out of system with her aggressive swings.
Swears with her second service, rather, that was Olin with the service error, I should say. 4 tonight for Central Michigan, and 3 of them came in about the first 15 points or so. Mercedes Brown, was there a touch? Kent State says there was, and that is the call. 2 in a row for KSU.
Nadia Miller with a great pickup here defensively, just staying on her toes, calling the ball. And Mercedes Brown putting it down.
Miller with a laser off her right arm. Raymond right into the arms of Patterson. One of the best digs we've seen tonight. Can Kent State win the point? Brown overpass into the arms of Langton. Raymond hits it out of play, and Kent State with a mini run. It's 3 in a row.
Kent State being rewarded for their defense. Katie Patterson has had herself a night. So we just see a Raymond laser picked up by her. Patterson up to 8 digs already. No one else on the team has more than 2.
And we get our first challenge of the night. Central Michigan did not use one last night. Kent State used one. They were successful. And I assume this is a challenge for a touch because the ball clearly was out of bounds.
In the gym, they just mentioned that they're looking for a net violation.
Okay. You see, that's when I talk, I can't hear. Maybe I should listen a little bit more than I talk.
It's okay, I can listen when you're talking.
Yeah, that's great. That's why we have 2 people on the broadcast, Marana. So I appreciate that.
Exactly.
So we're looking for a net violation here.
This is a hard ball to just analyze from our perspective because this could have come from any point in that play. The net violation did not have to be at the end. It could have been at the end, but it could have been at any point during the rally.
Oh, is that I mean, that's awfully close. I would say no to that.
From that look, I would agree.
But like you mentioned, and that's a great thought. When is Coach Wilson, and I'm sure she's probably a certain point in the play she's looking at. So we're looking at this now. Was there a net violation on either Vigil or Ginley? You don't see any there, but it could be at any point during the play. That's what they're challenging for. The initial ruling is not a net violation. It is the point to Kent State where Raymond hit it out.
That is in favor for Kent State because if they aren't able to find anything conclusive, the play will stand. The call will stand.
I remember against Ohio about a week and a half ago, Marana, we guessed a couple of times on what the ruling would be, and I was 0 for 2. So I'm not going, I'm going to keep predictions away this time.
I can't remember what my predictions were in that game. I can't remember. I don't think I was 0-2, but I'm not going to predict this either. But I will. I'll play into it. I think it stands.
You're 1 for 1 tonight. No, I should have said something. I thought it was going to stand.
Well,
my percentage would have went up.
It's okay. Now you're at a good 0 or 100.
3-0 run for Kent State. The call on the floor stands. 11-8. Miller out of play.
Miller just missing that back corner. She's a tough server for Kent State. She gets a lot of aces, but a lot of errors as well. So was able to keep her errors under control last night. Had 3 aces, but an error here today.
Raymond back to the service line. Led Central Michigan in digs a night ago. Brown off the arms of Olin. Gonna be a tough play. Not the greatest swing, but Kent State will take it.
Brown rewarded there. She had some tough sets so far in this set, but able to get a set that is a little more workable for her, and she gets a kill from it.
3 hitters in the front row. Vigil benefits from the tape. Brown gets a piece. High ball for Kripe. Man, can she swing it.
Kripe swinging aggressively off the tops of their hands, just too high in the back row for anyone to get.
13-9, Central Michigan by 4. This is around the point where the Chippewas usually have gone on their run against the Golden Flashes, and that's a tough break.
Grace Thomas adds another ace to her toolbook already. 27 on the year. A lucky one there for her.
This one with a lot more pace on it. Vigil right side, block is closed, but Moreland swung through it. Vigil with options to the middle. Ginley with a push. And that's going to be off the antenna. The point for Central Michigan. You know what I'm getting a kick out of right now? Coach Carney, he is into every single point. I give him credit. 15-9, Central Michigan. Back row, not the greatest set for Raymond. Good placement though. V-Hill, right side. Moreland with space, and she gets it through Kripe.
Moreland, another kill now, only 2, but the second of this set. Able to put the ball away here, just powering through the block.
5-point game is Greta Bolognini instead of Leslie Ferruta coming in the back row for Mercedes Brown. We saw her come in briefly for Mackenzie McGuire. She can certainly pass it. She gets a touch right there. Great hustle from Haley Brenner as Kent State stays alive. McGuire wins the joust, and Kent State wins a much-needed point.
The hustle pays off for Kent State, as they do a great hustle there by Haley Brenner to keep this ball alive, and then just winning the joust at the net.
Bolognini just out of play, and it's interesting to see Bolognini serve, because usually when Kent State was running that two libero system with Ferruta and Bolognini, Greta only came in with 1 ace and 4 service errors on the year, so a really small sample size to go from. Serving this year, you have to look at last year a lot.
A great server for Kent State last year though, so maybe not the touches this year, but certainly last year.
McGuire with a free ball. Can Kent State lock in defensively? Abby Olin delivers.
Abby Olin just splitting the blockers into that deep right corner in between 2 defenders.
Central Michigan matching their largest lead here of set number 2. And an ace right at Bolognini. And it's 18-11. Coach Eckerman still with 1 more timeout. Keelan Mill, Central Michigan setter, 42 assists in 4 sets last night. Much better pass this time from Bolognini. McGuire with her second swing of this rally. She's blocked. Great hustle by Bolognini. V-Hill pops it over. Lots of chances, and Kripe crushes it down the line.
Great defensive plays there by Kent State, but Kripe, being aware of what just happened on Kent State's side, makes the decision to nail this ball down the line, gets herself a kill.
19-11, Central Michigan leads by 8 over the Golden Flashes, and it's gotten to the point in the set where you're going to need a furious rally from Kent State if you're going to stay in this match. Or should I say this set. We saw last night it was the second set that Central Michigan dominated. Kent State came back and won the third. It's just so difficult against this tempo to keep them out of system if you're going to try and reverse sweep this type of team in Central Michigan, a group with so much momentum, Marana.
Central Michigan just has the momentum, and even what we saw in the third set last night, but even when they lose that momentum, they are quick to gain it back, and they'll rally to get back into the game.
Central Michigan led by Grace Thomas with 8 kills, Raymond with 5, Kripe with 4. We mentioned the change in mindset that has really led to this winning streak. Coach Wilson, of course, a legendary player at Penn State, and Russ Rose, she said to this day, the legendary Russ Rose, she said, still her life coach, got to speak to the Central Michigan team when they went to Penn State this year. And she said it meant a lot seeing Penn State win a national title last year, won 4 national championships in all 4 years, 3-time All Big Ten first team selection. I asked Haley Eckerman the same questions because Texas won back-to-back national titles. And both of them said it was really, really cool to see their schools capitalize on their opportunity on the big stage, since both of them did it as players as well.
Block there from Central Michigan for the point. A little bit of discussion, so not sure what was happening there.
Bolognini, V-Hill outside. McGuire has had a tough night so far. Kent State covers the dump this time. Moreland finds the spot cross court.
Kent State finally has a response to the dump by Mill. V-Hill laying it out. Moreland with just a nice spot between the 2 defenders.
Still a long, long way to go if Kent State's going to take this set. It starts on the service line with Brenner. McGuire, that's her best swing of the night.
McGuire able to move around the block for a kill here. Gets into the positive hitting percentage, which she hasn't been able to do tonight. So a nice spot there for McGuire.
Priority for Brenner is keeping it in the court. She wins a free ball off that serve. Down the middle, Nadia Miller. V. Hill pushes it over. Oh boy, that's got to be a point, and we get some boos from the Kent State football team. That's a frustrating point, though, if you're Kent State, because you have 2 free balls back to back, and that first pass on that free ball was, as you see there, tied in the net to V. Hill, and she's in the back row there.
Tough play there. Football team may not know the rules of volleyball, but they support their team.
Miller pops it up into the air. V. Hill in the back row keeps her feet on the ground and finds a spot cross court.
V. Hill gets a kill here. 2 different players kind of going after it, but V. Hill calling it and just finds the spot there.
You know, I will say some of the boos are coming from Superfan, too.
That's true, not just football.
Superfan knows the rules of volleyball. Patterson on the service line. Good bump set by Raymond. Slide for Miller, down the line, it's home.
Miller on the slide, a play she loves. Kent State finding some energy, finding some momentum, something they needed here.
Patterson, good seam, passes on target, outside, beautiful kill by Natalia Raymond.
Raymond was going to be the response for Central Michigan in that rotation. Grace Thomas wasn't on the court, so might as well go to Raymond.
7-point Chippewa lead. 8-point Chippewa lead.
Haley Brenner unable to get underneath this ball, but a great serve by Langston.
Good hustle by V. Hill. McGuire at a near impossible angle keeps it in the court. Abby Olin, great coverage by Brenner. This has been the issue, though. A lot of easy opportunities and roll shots for Central Michigan to facilitate their offense. McGuire, what a spot down the line. How about that swing?
Kent State keeps this ball alive throughout the play. Just great hustle everywhere. On this last ball, I really liked how Greta Bolognini calls other people off, sets the ball, and Mackenzie McGuire finds the line.
Ideally in system, and Abby Olin cross court right through a hole in the black between Brown and Miller. And it's set point for CMU.
Easy ball there for Olin. Find the split in the block, find the split in the defense.
Backslide, Nadia Miller keeps it alive. Not ready to go to break just yet, Marana.
Not quite yet, as we hear noise in the background there.
Ribeiro out of the game. Miller with a missile off her right hand. And the back looked like a backslide set to no avail, and Kent State stays alive. It'll be set point number 3 coming up for the Chippewas.
Give Langton some credit there. Her middle and her setter, miscommunication on what they were running, but she tracks this ball down just barely outside of the antenna.
Miller with a sinking line drive. Time, space for Thomas, and Kent State lights off 3 set points.
Thomas keeping it alive. Not unable to keep it alive on her side of the court, but Kent State keeping things going.
Priority here for Miller is keeping this ball on the court. She does. Raymond with a roll shot. Patterson played a little too deep there. And Central Michigan takes a commanding 2-0 set lead over Kent State. A very similar script from a night ago. Central Michigan up 2-0. Set 3 action on the way. We'll take a break. Dane Richardson, Marana Burles with you on ESPN+. Joined here on Flash Talk by Kent State wide receiver and star kickoff returner Darylis Clark. Darylis, really appreciate you joining me on Flash Talk. A couple kickoff returns for touchdowns this year. You lead the country in that stat. One against Merrimack, one against UMass this past weekend. Describe to me what was going through your head when you returned that kickoff this past weekend.
Well, off rip, the energy, as soon as I walked into the building that morning, I just felt it. I felt that something's coming. I knew something was coming, and it just happened to be the kickoff return that day. He kicked that ball off. I seen it was short, and I was like, I'm about to take it to the crib. I'm about to go straight to the crib. Caught it, seen Jose Kimbrough get the lead block, and I took it from there.
Yeah, and take me through also that kickoff return for a touchdown against Merrimack. Obviously, that was huge. It was the game winner. You guys were down.
The difference between the Merrimack kickoff and the UMass kickoff is Merrimack was flying down the field. They act like they wanted to make a play. We came with our match return to the right. I'm like, man, I'm about to make a play. I'm a playmaker. I'm about to make a play. I got the ball. I seen the hole, broke a couple of tackles, and just took off and went to the crib. That's how that's supposed to be, like, every single time I touch the ball.
And take me through the balance of your preparation, kind of reading through that with your special teams coordinator, CJ Conrad, and when you kind of know, all right, I need to turn on the jets here. This is where I should burst.
Whenever we need a spark on any point during the game, whether it be the beginning of the game or the end of the game, I just know it's time to go. He lets me know, like, take this out. You got it, you know. You can go make a play. You're a playmaker. So whenever I get the chance, it's every chance that I get.
Darylis, you played at the D3 level with Defiance, Butler Community College. Did you envision yourself 1 or 2 years ago at the Division I FBS level making the type of impact you are now?
Well, to start off, when I was at the Division III level, before I even went to the Division III level, I wasn't planning on playing college football. I had some people talk my head up. And so when I got to the Division III level and I dominated on that level, then I realized I can take it much further. So I decided to transfer JUCO. And I took a chance on myself. Went out to Butler Community College in El Dorado, Kansas. Redshirted a year, developed a little bit. After that, I played, and obviously it's the same impact here. At Butler Community College, I was All-American kick returner. It's translating at every division.
You had that kickoff return against UMass. It's getting retweeted by Bleacher Report, Sports Center, and a lot of people love the name Darylis. So what has it been like getting that publicity on social media?
It's definitely a confidence booster, man, knowing that people are looking at me and expecting me to make plays every week. Well, it's feeling good. I'm just trying to get my name out there, let the NFL scouts know that I've been a playmaker on every division, every level. For the little kids back at home, whether it be the youth sports, the middle schoolers, the high schoolers, I know they have somebody to look up to. So when they see something go across their Instagram page and it's the realist and he's from Lima, I feel like it gives them a little inspiration that they can do it too.
Welcome back. Just ahead of set number 3, Central Michigan with a commanding 2-0 set lead over the Golden Flashes as we take a look at some match stats. Kills clearly in favor of Central Michigan, but that hitting percentage, a large difference, 258 to 125. Then you circle another one, 3 blocks for Kent State. You would assume that number's got to go up if they want to reverse sweep CMU.
Central Michigan with an impressive 8 blocks for only 2 sets. That's a very high number. Kent State hitting 125, a small number, but better than the 0 that they were hitting the first set.
It's Bolognini, who came in the second set. She'll start off in the third as the DS for Mercedes Brown in the back row. Olin goes cross court. And you have to assume in the huddle after the second set, this could be an area of emphasis for Ario Wilson saying, hey, we were in the same situation last night, and we feel like we let a set slip. Can we not do that tonight and finish the job in 3?
Kent State is going to try and take this third set, but Central Michigan has to find a way to slow any momentum Kent State has so it isn't a repeat of last night.
In the middle, Adeline Ginley started off the match with a kill. You would assume she really needs to get going, but as we talked about earlier, when the serve and pass game isn't there, the middles really get taken out of play.
Ginley, not a player who gets as many touches as even the other middle, Nadia Miller.
Anderson in as the libero, and this time it's Brooklyn Connor fired up on that swing.
Connor, as you mentioned, fired up for her third kill of the night, getting her team hyped up.
A lot has been talked about of the efficiency of both middles, Thomas and Connor. I asked Coach Wilson about that, saying, hey, as a middle, does that help? And speaking of middles, Nadia Miller gets a kill for Kent State. And she said, listen, they were already efficient before I got here. I didn't have to do too much. And Olin was mainly the other middle with Thomas most of the year, but since they've inserted Connor, she has been fantastic. You could argue it's the best middle combination in the Mid-American Conference, especially when CMU's in system. Outside Raymond, a big-time block from Vigil.
Vigil standing there tall as she denies Raymond there. Raymond looking to get fired up here, but denied.
Katie Patterson stood out defensively in set number 2. The swing and getting a touch is Thomas. Thomas up to 9 kills tonight, hitting .412. Well on her way to another double-digit kill performance. A nasty serve from Olin. Thankfully for Kent State, it stays in the court. Good coverage by Kent State. What a push from Vigil. Crafty play.
It starts there on the defense from Greta Bolognini to keep this ball alive as we see her rotate out, though, for Avery Rigney, who we haven't seen in a couple of matches.
Avery Rigney comes in for the first time. Pushed over outside, Rigney with a great swing, gets Central out of system. Does she get it back? Yes, she does. Rigney couldn't finish. Thomas with a block by Rigney, and it's just out of play. What a point, though, there for the sophomore, coming in with a bang.
Avery Rigney making her presence known here, looking to get this ball in, just misses. The line judge calls a touch, up ref overrules him, and he acknowledges it.
Going after McGuire, that was a good decision, and Kripe easily off the block of Vigil.
Kent State needs to get this next point back. They can't let Central Michigan go on a run and kind of separate themselves early in this third set.
Hill with the slide, a lot of room for Miller, but that defense from Central, I was gonna say it's been pretty darn strong, but not the greatest dig there from Langton.
Nadia Miller has been so efficient today. 8 kills, hitting .583. So for a Kent State team that's hitting .176, that number really stands out.
The only downside to that is she goes to serve in the back row. They go with Kinley, smart decision to tip. You feel like Kent State, or at least their middles, maybe haven't done that enough through the last 2 nights, and Ginley gets another one.
Ginley getting set here. Nadia Miller goes to the back row. They keep the middles involved here, and Ginley's a smart player. She sees the court well. She knows what is open.
With the slide, Thomas, Kent State gets a touch. A dump from Hill. Results in a free ball. To the outside, Rigney off the top of the block. Kripe, what a swing. She hits that thing 1,000 miles an hour.
Kripe just puts everything into this ball. We see her do it last night and here today. She just goes to the outside of the block and attacks Patterson in the back row.
Hill gets off her spot well. Rigney, that's a tool. She'll take it.
Rigney goes off speed on this ball and it just goes off the blocker's hands.
For Rigney, it's her 8th match this season. She played multiple sets against Towson, Cleveland State, and Youngstown State. Her season high is 6 kills. So she hasn't played a ton this season, but looking to cash in on an opportunity in conference play. Kripe goes down the line. Haley Eckerman thinking about a challenge, but her bench tells her no.
Eckerman knows when to challenge the ball. She relies on her team and on her bench to kind of dictate when she makes those challenges.
Great pass from Rigney in serve receive, but Moreland smacks that out of play.
Moreland trying to go down the line off speed and just misses it a little bit deep, but a good idea for her.
They'll ask Rigney to do it again, and she feeds CMU an overpass. Kripe this time with the tip, and Brenner with a soft toss. Kripe, and oh man, we're really starting to see the freshman shine. I mentioned last night at 5'8", you gotta be able to jump out of the gym. She just gets up there, and once she swings away, very difficult to block.
Difficult to block as well, just kind of running a tempo play. Both players running balls near each other at a fast tempo.
Ginley off the pass from Rigney. Kent State back within 1.
Kent State has to keep things going on their side. Can't let Central Michigan get too far out ahead. Bolognini, who was an aggressive server since she's come in.
Bolognini, speaking of aggressive serves, this will be a great chance here for KSU. Brenner, Hill, Moreland with a kill.
Kent State, they have to capitalize on free balls that they receive. They haven't received a ton of them from Central Michigan here tonight, and Macy Moreland just does just that.
Bolognini, too much. 10-9 CMU. Do you feel like Kent State's captured some momentum here, despite them only being down 1?
I think this set is very different from Kent State, and we'll have to see once they get to that 12-13 range what happens to Kent State, because that's really where things start to break down for them, at least in the last couple of sets.
That's a point Kent State will want to forget. When Haley Eckerman, Kent State's head coach, talked about keys to victory this weekend, the first thing she said was short-term memory, one and done. You have to have it for points like that. Still down 2, well in contention here in this 3rd set. Olin on the right side, out of play. Central wanted the touch, they don't get it.
Kent State has to capitalize on this error from Central Michigan. Kent State also needs to find a way to get Mackenzie McGuire involved. Only 4 kills here tonight.
Lots of room for Olin. McGuire kept her hands up there as long as she could. But again, too much room. Olin says, I'm not tipping it this time.
Olin has done a nice job tonight just attacking that right back corner between the middle back and the left back defender.
Olin hit under 200 last night. She's hitting 385 tonight. So much focus are on those outsides. Giving more space for Olin. Here's Nadia Miller. Ooh, just a little much. A good run. And rarely do you see her miss that type of ball.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kent State goes right back to Miller on this next ball if they have the pass to do.
Time for an approach after colliding with Bolognini on a pass and a much-needed hitting error for Kent State. You figure if CMU gets that point, Kent State might utilize a timeout there down 4. But Haley Eckerman trusts her team to fight back in this set.
Now it's all up to the Kent State serve to kind of dictate how this next point is going to go.
A middle takes the second ball. You feel like there's been too many roll shots or free ball opportunities that have turned into easy points for the Chippewas.
Easy point there for Kent State to pick up. It's in a hard spot in the middle of the court where 3 players can really get the ball, but it's a ball that Kent State needs to pick up.
McGuire is unable to get going, and Raymond is getting going. 15-11, Central Michigan with their largest lead of the set, and we'll step away with immediate timeout. 10 points away the Chippewas from a clean sweep on the road. Stay right here. It's college volleyball on ESPN+. Don't go away. We're back here in the third set. Kent State needs to start a run now if they want to avoid getting swept. As we take a look at Central Michigan's upcoming schedule, do have a midweek matchup coming up at Eastern Michigan. That's their travel partner. Then they have a nice little home stretch. Ohio, then Miami, then at Ball State. But if you take a look at the schedule, especially those 2 opponents at home, very winnable matchups you would feel like if you're the Chippewas. Ball State to end the regular season is obviously tough, but if they can finish this one off, they are in the driver's seat to try and sneak into the MAC tournament again.
Ohio's been an aggressive team this year so far, so started off conference play a little bit shaky, but they'll be a tough matchup for the Chippewas coming up.
Mill again with the dump. I shouldn't say sneak into the MAC tournament again. Central Michigan was around the number 6 spot coming into this weekend, but last year 15-3 in the MAC. By no means did they sneak in. McGuire rips away. Central is just getting a piece of that block to slow it down. Second crack at it for McGuire. This time she succeeds.
Bolognini keeping this play alive with the tip coverage, something that Kent State has desperately needed in the last 2 matches, but Mackenzie McGuire putting it away.
Rigney coming back in there. Haley Eckerman pressing a different button. Mercedes Brown out of the game. Thomas in the back slide. It's got to be frustrating if you're Coach Eckerman to still see that set time and time again, and so much space for Thomas, who's now up to 11 kills.
Kent State is definitely frustrated defensively, just seeing all of these tips and roll shots hit the ground.
And there's a service ace that hits the ground, Marana. Timeout, Kent State. 18-12 Central Michigan. Kent State, if they don't make a furious rally here, likely to drop to 8-14 overall and 3-8 in MAC play. Let's take a look at the Flash's upcoming schedule. They'll also have a midweek matchup on Tuesday. They head to Ohio. A team they got swept by a week and a half ago. Marana, you and I were there for that matchup. We'll be back next weekend, Halloween weekend, I should say. Number one team in the conference comes into the MAC Center, the Ball State Cardinals. They came into this weekend 9-0 in MAC play. Western Michigan is not an easy team to go on the road and beat two-time defending MAC tournament champions, and then they end with Northern Illinois at home. You would assume those games on the weekend against Ball State and Western Michigan, Kent State will be underdogs. But they got to start pulling out some wins if they want to sneak in the MAC tournament.
Kent State has to find ways to battle back against these tough opponents to really make their mark and show the conference who they are.
Those 3 wins for Kent State coming last Friday on the road at Miami, and then 2 at home against Buffalo and Akron. That moved Kent State to 2-2 in MAC play. Since then, Kent State is 1-5. Out of the timeout, an excellent pass from McGuire. Raymond in the back row, Miller gets a piece of it. Kripe, and oh man. There have been a number of hitters that have been excellent tonight for Central Michigan. Kripe's hitting .571 with 9 kills. Thomas 375, Connor 375, and Olin 385. When you hit like that, you're going to win the match. Service air from Raymond. That's what Kent State needed, but very little resistance tonight.
Central Michigan's offense has just been able to do whatever they want to do and run whatever play they want.
Miller with a service ace. Could this be the start of a run for KSU? Getting back to that point, though, we see middles have that type of hitting percentage. What does it say that in the third set and outside is hitting over 500?
It's an impressive number. It just shows that Taylor Kripe is an aggressive player, but she's also a consistent player. So she's not making the errors. She's not a player that can be blocked.
3 in a row, Nadia Miller, effective with her last 2 serves. Cuts the Central Michigan lead down to 4. Miller too long. That's a tough one because Miller has been your best server tonight in getting Central Michigan out of system. You have to punch back right here if you're KSU. But a frustrating face at the service line if you're the Flashes, it's Thomas. Outside, Kripe. That hitting percentage just went up again.
Kripe sees the hands in front of her, is not worried, and just hammers the ball off of them.
Timeout, Kent State. The Chippewas are 4 points away as Kripe is hitting .600 tonight. We just mentioned the upcoming schedules for both the Chippewas and the Golden Flashes. Well, let's take a look at the entire picture. Our Mid-American Conference standings as Kent State utilizes their final timeout. Central Michigan, if they get 4 more points and close it out tonight, they're going to improve to 6-5, and Kent State will fall to 3-8. Ball State, this is coming into this weekend. 9-0 is Ball State. Toledo 7-2. Bowling Green 6-3. Western Michigan around that 4 spot at 6-3. Then it really becomes tight. And you think about those matchups for Central Michigan with Ohio and Miami. So those are 3 teams right around the cut line right now. So if they win those matches, kind of clinching yourself in, barring anything crazy. As if you're Kent State, if you drop to 3-8, you start to fall a little bit more toward the basement. You're going to have to go on some type of winning streak here later on in the year.
Central Michigan playing against Miami in Ohio. You have to think that Central Michigan has the momentum at this part in the season.
Backslide for Ginley. Worked toward the end of the second set, but not right there. Out of bounds. Was there a touch? Ariel Wilson thinking the challenge card. The point right now is Kent State. Or is it? It's Central's.
Wilson not needing to use her challenge card, having a little bit of a conversation with line judge though.
High ball for Rigney. That's a fantastic swing.
Rigney has been aggressive with her swing so far. Only her second kill on 7 attempts, but no errors from her. So she's been swinging aggressively in getting the other side out of system.
Speaking of in system, Central Michigan was right there. Moreland right side. That's a tool. It goes off the antenna.
Moreland hitting the ball off of the hands, but just goes right into the antenna off of Kripe's hands. Kent State still in this match, down by 5, but they can make a run.
The chances of that just got slimmer, Morana. 2 points away of the Chippewas.
We haven't seen the back row attack as frequently as it saw it last night, but a lot of that is due to Central Michigan staying in system.
Rigney over the top. Brooklyn Connor demolishes that ball. It's match point.
That ball just goes straight down from Connor. Central Michigan has 46 kills. 38 of them are assists. So that means there's 8 balls that Kent State has given to the other side of the net and overpass kills that Central Michigan has had. Or setter dumps.
Kent State fights off 1 match point. Can they fight off 6 more is the question. The answer is no. Bolognini serves it out of play in a clean sweep for Central Michigan. 25-18, your final score in the third. This one, Marana, a dominant performance from Central Michigan. 7 total sets played tonight, 6 of them to the Chippewas. They clearly were the better team through 2 games.
Central Michigan just overall looking strong. They are able to get production from their middles and their outsides at such a high rate. We saw it tonight with Kripe. She hit 625 for 11 kills.
Let's take a look at some final stats between the Chippewas and the Golden Flashes. 46 kills to 31. As a team, you hit 320. Taylor Kripe hit 625, Olin 385. Thomas, who was our player to watch, 375, 11 kills. She tied for a team lead with Kripe. And Brooklyn Connor hitting 400. For Kent State, you did have Nadia Miller hit 429. Adeline Ginley hit 333. Rigney, who came in, she had a nice performance. 2 kills, 7 total attacks, no errors, hitting 286. But Marana, where do you go from here if you're Kent State after 2 losses this weekend?
From this weekend, you really just have to regroup from it. You take what you learned. You saw the fast offense of Central Michigan, and then you go back to your scout and you get ready for Ohio. Ohio is going to be a tough battle for them on Tuesday. It was a tough battle when they came here. So just being able to have that short-term memory, as Haley Eckerman talked about, and then just finding ways for that team to have success.
Central Michigan, the victors last night and tonight, as they take down the Golden Flashes in a clean sweep this evening from the Mack Center. For Marana Burles, I'm Dane Richardson saying so long from Kent, Ohio, where the final score is Central Michigan 3 sets, Kent State none. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.